Hello, hello. Just doing a quick mic check. Everyone can hear me, hopefully. Perfect. Welcome everybody to tonight's stream. We are doing a game night playtest. Work. I'm gonna be working on some level design. Gonna continue in some work. You might have seen some of our social media stuff that we've been working on and showcasing is our new zone in the environment. It's the swamp area. So I'll be continuing building out the levels for that. Using some of the assets I have and whatnot to kind of build out some of the ruins here, places of interest, and vegetation, stuff like that, things like that. Yeah, so this is a work session. I don't know why it says we're broken plastic. That was what we played on Wednesday. I'm not sure how to change that, but hey. If you're in chat tonight watching me, say hello. Kind of keep me company while I work on some game dev stuff. So let's get to it. Primarily, like I said, just working on the and or on the levels for this. So just getting something. Oh, oh, okay, okay, yep. All right. So let's get to it. Yep. Let's get to it. Let's start working on some stuff. Again, you're in chat. Drop by, say hello. I've already started opening on some stuff here. For our level. So I'm primarily going to work on placing some ruins and assets into this world. And the name of the game is kind of using some of these pre-builts that I have already made. I already have some idea mapped out of where things are going to be. Um, my process is different for different levels of different ways of building levels. Um, this is kind of open world a little bit more, so this is a little bit different than how I normally would do things. I generally block out more specific areas um, versus here it's more broad areas where I know I'm gonna have some sort of temple here, some sort of ruins, and things like that. Um, and so I'm not too worried about the specifics of the layouts as if I was making uh, an arena shooter map or something like that. So depending on the type of map I'm making, the process is a little different. This is already, like I said, more big picture. And then because we have our playtesting a lot, you know, we'll get this into our playtest, try it out, see how it feels navigating. This is still kind of like early, so a lot of the navigation and mesh stuff will still have to be kind of like worked on a little bit, and so um, yeah, that's will come um, later down the line. Right now, I'm more just placements, getting what the environment looks like, feeling of it, things like that. Um, so that's kind of what going at with some of the stuff. And then what I'll do later, eventually, which I have done it yet because we're still kind of getting some of these things working, but chests and stuff like that are gonna finally start appearing in some of these locations. So while you're exploring, you'll find some of these things like throughout the map or indicators of like things you're like, hey, what happened here, um, stuff like that. And then these just kind of have some rough elements of that, and so yeah, just kind of this area is meant to be like a slight like something happened here. Well, not though there's a volcano here, and obviously lava has erupted, and so like there's a blast radius, so kind of killed some of the early vegetation here with all the lava that primarily came down, and it eroded, dried up. More like the lava here. This is kind of like a mudslide, so this area is kind of like collapsed. So there will be a distinction here, be like this kind of like rock formation, and over here where like there was like mudslides and stuff. So you won't see those rock elements over there in those other parts of the area. Um, so that's primarily what I'm doing here in these elements. And so a lot of this stuff is kind of like buried. I want to hint at something larger than life here, kind of thing. Yeah, so there's this idea of this was a road at some point too. That just got destroyed over the years through the mudslide, like I said. So when I'm doing stuff like this, especially with destructible and ruins, I try to format it how where it was or how it was before. And then I'll alter it and kind of dilapidate it and start falling and making it fall apart. So yeah, just adding here. Again, when I kind of made this area, I already knew certain things and aspects of it that were where they were going to go and things like that. Um, yeah, and bridges, pathways are a great way to like kind of lead players of where do you want them to go. And so that's kind of what this is. Yes, we have this path that leads down here. This is kind of like let's say like a small edge temple that was here. I want to lead them to something that's there, perhaps treasure, and then this kind of bridge also leads them to this area. I don't want them to kind of like forget, like, hey, what's over here? And this is kind of where we start breaking out some of these important other components. And then we have another kind of path up here. Um, so we kind of have these arches. There's another great way to kind of just show players and like, hey, there's a path here. And some of these, I have all these prefab arches that I use over and over again. Some will stay, and I use them as an. At one point, I'll probably do a pass where I'll like maybe delete some of the parts for it. Stuff that doesn't make sense to have sometimes. Um, so, but for now, this is good. Kind of gets what we're trying to tell the story. Oh, follow this path or something here. This kind of symbolizes gateway in our world. And again, these are all like just pathing that I have for the player. And this is trying to guide them into, like I said, these different areas. So this is kind of one area. Let's see. We already have that there. Yeah. So don't want to do that one. Well, always interesting also to see how I can use these with other pieces. So maybe I can combine these somehow. So these may have something working with them. They're kind of exposed in that way here. Also, this building kind of is nonsensical as is. So I think I'll take it out. What I am currently doing, at least. Yeah, I don't need that there. Another bridge component. This might be cool. Actually, yeah, let's do this. This will be our kind of bridge component over here. Yeah. Let's do that. Obviously, need to edit them, but let's add something to make it a little bit different. So no, I don't like that idea anymore. We'll just leave it with that. Yeah, I'll come back. Let's kind of make it of a old Spencer bridge. There's another bridge that's gonna be actually up here. So I should put that now. Actually, no, this is not that bridge. This is gonna be one of these bridges. Um, yeah, that is gonna need to escalate. Um, I'll just leave that there. That's kind of more, if anything, to hint at me. But yeah, let's get back to where we're here. So that's fine. That's fine. Just gonna keep walk. our conduit. Yep, looks like that's getting a little better. Go ahead and save this. Let's create our waterfall real quick. It's kind of been sitting there for a while. So we'll be making a little. Well, my bad. My drink almost blew up. I didn't know these things have gas. All right. Yeah, so let's start with our pro builder. And we're just gonna get a new shape. Make it square. That's it. Nothing fancy. And yeah, this is generally how I'll make these things. Just, yeah, so I just try to follow the shape that I make with the rocks. Give it a little layer. Extrude every now and then. Move it around the. That way, when the effect comes in with the material, um, blending it with these rocks will look pretty cool. Get that foam pattern a little bit better. So this is where it gets local. And then I'm just gonna put my water swamp material. Water swamp. Yeah. Put that one. No. That radiation water now fall in there. And then there we go. We have our waterfall. Try to get more of this stuff done, placed in the area we want. There's some I definitely want to connect with a little bit more. Let's get back on our snapping. So definitely want to connect these two a little bit better. And this one's kind of my big one. That is our biggest plot. So I think we're gonna do it this way. There. All right. Sorry, that's gonna be crazy intense. That one's yeah, that one fits perfectly though. This one over there. Yep, 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 yep. Hey, anybody join us? It's a holiday weekend. So, yeah, just trying to get these little guys fit on these islands. And I don't necessarily need them all to be. Yeah, see, that works. And any of these floating areas like that have that stuff, I can easily add other things to it. Rocks, moss. There's still all the other ambient stuff that I want to add to that. Okay, perfect. Now it just comes to this one. This is a kind of a large complex. I would like it. I would like it to be here, but it just make it very too much. Yeah. I'm just gonna play with the terrain for this though. I don't like that it's like how it is. So I'm going to just paint some heights. Oh, perfect. It's already set for me. All right. That's 50. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Yep. All right. That's good. Let's just smooth that out now. Yeah. So smooth that out. So I'm mostly painting on the edge here because I want to have some mud there, recede. It's also clear for players to understand that where they should and should go. If they see a blend, they're gonna want to walk into it. Um, so anything, more information we give players to like visual markers, so they better understand what they can where they can't go where they could go, the better. Right. So, for example, if I leave this area a little bit there, it might be like that's a little bit more of a possible to connect with and whatnot. So, just want to make sure some of these are clear. Also, a good way to like show that there's an entrance there of some sort. Yeah, that's a little much on that end, but that's fine. It's, it's, that's fine. We'll test that out. So just kind of created also now spots where like players can kind of like potentially make a base or something. That's kind of what the point of some of these locations are. Kind of just give a dramatic backdrop so if they want to make a base here, they have those opportunities. So this is kind of one of them. And again, nothing crazy. Because there's the wild, they can't create big bases or big areas. So it's mostly creating like finding spots and like, oh, this will be a cool place to like build something or like have a base real quick or something. So that's kind of the point of what some of these areas as well. These floating islands and things like that. Definitely more ruins on this side than that side. Very intentional, as you can notice. The islands are a little bit bigger than over here. Kind of differentiate the area. Could probably spread out some of this, but kind of one of the things that we do, like when people are making their bases outside in the wilds, we want to give them like some sort of peace, so they're not always in danger. Um, they know where the danger is, so they can go to it. So that's kind of why some of the things are laid out the way they are. Again, being kind of a survival game where we try to be in an intersection for different players, we don't always want them to be in limit danger, but just know that there's danger just over the horizon. So, not to say there's not going to be any enemies or anything like here, but just a little bit more breathing room in this area. So there'll be a lot more vegetation here, some other stuff. Because these ruins are not all either. They're going to be uninhabited. Some of them will have certain things on them. So that is the idea, the plan. I also don't know if I have this one up here. All right. Well, so much for that idea. I was looking for this one though because I wanted the one that has the underground areas. Um, so this will be kind of perfect. I'm gonna do something different there for that. So we won't need that. So I'm adding the transparency to that. I'm basically going to be able so players can go on top and under it, carrying like a mini cave, so to speak. So adding the transparency. Just gonna add it to these. Adding this as well, and then we're just gonna add some of these rocks. Okay, not what I was gonna intentionally do, but I kind of like this idea. Okay, I dig it. All right, let's save that. So that's kind of a platform element that really got into that. Yeah. So the idea is I can create a summit expedition. I don't have one on this, so I don't have too many, but don't have enough because they are proven to be fun. Uh, so yeah, that could be leading part of it. It might be cool to have something up here where you can see the gates. So interesting. Definitely gonna keep working on that. This has been turning out to be a little bit more longer than I thought. Um, that is fine though. One thing I did want to jump into though. The marshland. Yeah, so that's something we gotta. Let's go ahead and save this first before we do anything too dramatic. All right. So So this is basically just adding the transparency to all the prefabs, so I don't have to add it one by one. That's the gist of what I'm doing now. So if I click on one of these trees, they're transparent. All of them are transparent now. Transparent, transparent, transparent. If it does not have one, it is because I have not done it to the prefab yet. But simple thing, go to objects, layer, up to the children, add our component, which we already have transparent object. Once that's loaded in, click on transparent material. These are all transparent materials we have right now. Some of them better than others. But that's if we need to change it. If it's too bright, too dark, not giving enough players information, we will do that. So we're using the good old tree one turns green when you're breaking out these trees. These are also when we make them destructible. Same thing. We'll come in here, add all these things. So to just make it easier. So this one doesn't have anything. This one does. Yes, the children. Transfer an object. Transparent. And there you go. So I'll go ahead and save this. I wanted to do more population into the foliage and trees and stuff down here. Um, Hopefully, I'll get that finished before the next build. But this kind of sums up. This area is pretty much complete, aside from obviously the vegetation stuff and some other things. Um, it's still gone through a rough patch. This still has to go finish trees over here, and then we got to do all our water elements and details. Um, Add our stone, all that good stuff. This is probably, I would even say all this, right? I just like this snippet here, minus the terrain, is like what it would probably look like. So it's always a go. So we shall see how that goes. Um, yeah, thanks for joining for tonight's stream. Hope you guys had fun. Um, I'll be working on this for a couple more minutes. I'll still leave the stream on for a little bit more. Now that I got some of this stuff set, and yeah, we have our next playtest is on Wednesday or Sunday. So one more weekend, but we will still be playtesting our game. So you can join us Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be sharing, yeah, please see some of the changes that we're going in, and new features. And also gonna get a feel for some of this stuff in the level. How it looks like, because the playtests we do or help me kind of get a better feeling. Okay, this, what should I add? This is too small. Um, Pathing making sense, stuff like that. So it's fun. Oops, what was that? So yeah, that is one trait two. That's true one. Let's get that little guy over here. Oh, he's your one in the rotter. Let's get like our crazy willow tree up in here as well. So yeah, this will help also kind of just then see how the trees affect the swamp area in these areas for some of these with the ruins and everything. Yeah, I haven't even gotten to add the fog effect yet or the rain effect. It's only on certain parts. Um, that reminds me, before I head out, I need to clear out some stuff here. So our player location is here. So that is our old portal. We want to be starting here now. When players start. I don't generally delete big feature stuff. Excuse me. So we'll put the portal inside our portal and let Chris handle that. I think I need that for our navigation stuff, which I don't want to mess with again. So yeah. So there's also some shenanigans that I've been working on here. Let's get the shenanigans somewhere else. And by shenanigans, I mean it's just stuff that I'm playtesting and fixing or things that I'm trying out. So this is kind of some shader stuff that I've been working on. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I'm gonna end the stream there. Y'all have a good one. See you Sunday. Don't forget to join us for that.